All right. Just a regular Sunday afternoon again. I thought just what a wild game. Honestly, in the first quarter, we dug ourselves a huge hole. And one thing about our team that I really admire, we're never out of the fight. And it would take a lot to come back. And I don't think, over the years, I've won too many when you're this far down on the, turnover differential. You guys have heard me talk about the ball for months here. So to see us come back through those moments, I thought defensively did a good job of stepping up into those spaces to go and get some field goals, as opposed to touchdowns into that spot. I thought that was probably the turning point for us because it couldn't have gone worse in the first quarter for us. And then in the second half, I thought defensively the guys really buckled down on who's a fantastic running back. Honestly, their run game is legit. And so for Saquon to have 27 in the second half, tip my hat to the defense on that. So with all that said, let's get rocking with you guys.
Dan, we talked about Jaden's maturity all year. He throws the interception. You guys are down 5, and then he leads that drive. How is he just able over and over again to thrive in these last moments in the year to put that mistake away and move past it?
That's the whole key to it, Ben. I think of he's able to clear and knowing that, okay, interception took place, to come down to it and going. I thought it was a big deal to get a stop, to knowing that we had space and time to go down the field. And if you give him moments, he really lights up in those spots. Today he became a heavy hitter. He really did. In a difficult game of a turnover margin that goes against you, you're down. This is a really good defense. The run game was hard for us today to get going. And so, turnovers and, missteps that'll happen along the way, to know that, at the end, you're ready to go make a play, to go, give your chance to win it. That's a big deal. So I thought there's a lot to be gained from today. It was ugly in some ways, but it was also excellent in some ways of resilience and these guys not backing down. We've had some games I thought we rode a roller coaster, and we didn't do that today. We didn't feel like we were ever out of the fight. And there was other games when I felt highs and lows, and so to stay consistent, I remember the first quarter must have felt like it damn near took an hour. And I said, man, we're just starting the second quarter, fellas. And it just felt like, it went terrible at the start. But I thought, hey, hang in there and let's go from here.
Thoughts on the Marshawn Lattimore, A.J. Brown matchup, and how is Lattimore, we know he left the game?
Yeah, I don't have an update from an injury standpoint. Both he and Jordan McGee and Andrew Wiley all were injured in the game, so I don't have an update there. I love his competitive nature, honestly, down the field. It'd be good to see what the NFL says about one of the ones that they called a PI. Let's find out. But he's the type of person you want to put on that player. And it was somebody asked me this week, it might have been you, Candy, about matchups and where you're seeing. And that didn't disappoint, in terms of two exceptional players. And that's what makes the NFL really fun, and division games and battle. And it was high intensity, high tension. I thought our guys did a good job keeping our poise in the midst of some of the fire. And that's a big deal, too.
Coach, you mentioned, over the season about this team just still having that fight. And you just now mentioned Jaden B, he became a heavy hitter today. So you said, as a team overall, is this one of those statement games? This is an example of what you're talking about, so they keep that fight going?
I don't think that, Candy, because we started, there's a lot more under the hood for us. So a statement game is when you play really well. Then you know what you're capable of. So the good news is we can improve a lot. And so I wouldn't say it was that. I think it was a toughness game. And to show that you're down for the fight, to go 5 quarters. I talked about that early in the week. If this one goes 5 full quarters, that's the mindset I want us to have. And knowing that it would be a tough game all the way through, and give them credit. This is a tough group. But that's what I said. But not anything deeper than that today. I was hoping for that, but today was an example of resilience and connection as a team, knowing that mistakes did take place, and we kept ourselves in the game.
I just asked Terry, I saw at the end of the game that Bobby Wagner had waited for Terry after he finished his on-field interviews, and then after that they just really just took a moment to embrace. So for when you choose your game day captains, right? So it's Terry, Bobby, and Jeremy Reeves this week.
Yes.
Did you have in mind this game at
Yes.
this moment?
I was thinking I'd follow those three anywhere. I honestly would. And so that's why I thought if we're trying to, become more than a contender and, become somebody that can fight in bigger ones, you would need people like that on the leading example. And I love, what they stand for and who they are. Like, honestly, these are some of the best teammates you could have. And so we're fortunate that we have them. And, it was an easy decision to say, hey, man, you go lead the way.
Dan, you mentioned the team staying composed in fiery moments. Was that something that you had talked about coming into this game, knowing that it was a division rival?
We did actually 2 weeks ago, because I brought it up after the bye. I thought there were some times when we're riding high, it's like a damn tidal wave coming down, like where it's a downpour of aggression. And when we're low, I felt sometimes the energy can be that. And I wanted us to make sure to keep our emotion, but also know, man, like this is living in the NFL. And so it isn't going to go good. There's going to be tough deals and bad, moments, and you stay in the fight and going. So for the players, that was something I wanted to discuss with them 2 weeks ago. And so it happened again last week, where I was proud of them because there was a touchdown, scored, and there was still a 2-point play to go. And so you have to lock back for the next play and the next moment, and that, in an instance, took place today. A turnover happened, and we've all seen in sports these momentum shifts. It's a real thing. And so I wanted us not to be emotionless, but to know there's going to be bad deals, tough calls, things that go against you, and you got to stay in it. In the same way, when it goes excellent. And so after the score, we got a chance to go get a 2-point, which is an important one when you go up 1 at the end of the game, and you got to be able to go deliver there. So I wanted us on the exceptional highs and the hard lows to level that out a bit.
You're not in the playoff field yet, but that's a possibility. Given what you're talking about that you've built and that attitude that they have, do you think this group believes it could beat any team, anywhere, doesn't matter, they have a chance?
We're getting closer to that. We need more, honestly, to do that. And today was a step in the right direction, but, they weren't at full strength either. And so, I'm not going to dismiss that. That's important to know. But we're gaining on it. But we need these, moments. I would say this is a tough team. They're hardened. They've been in some fights as a, group that's developing and growing. And it helps a lot to talk about, the captains that were for this game with Reeves and Wagner and McLaurin. Like, these are real competitors, and what they stand for goes on to the other guys as well.
Yeah, what is it about Terry McLaurin that he's allowed to kind of be as consistent as he's been, no matter who his quarterback is?
He's got a knack on a deep ball of tracking it that not everybody has, because to get some of the plays that he has, to get behind people, obviously you have to have speed, but tracking a deep ball is one of the most difficult things, because oftentimes it could be on this shoulder or opposite. And so his ability to get on top, to stay consistent in that way, to go. That's why not connecting on a few last week, we were like, damn, these were some plays that we thought would have changed the game. But he's a hell of a competitor, man. And so he has that going for him. But his ability to track the deep ball and the connection already, with Jaden has been a big one. I was as happy as I was for Terry, and I believe he tied a franchise record today. It's also worth noting for OZ and Jamison, like being on the IR for as long as Jamison had, it takes a lot of grit to stay in it. He might have been out of football technically for 2 to 3 months, and this is not an easy thing to do. So for him to come back and make the impact he's had, that's a man I respect a lot.
Dan, sir, I was a little bit, so if we answered this before, I apologize. How did you adjust the run fits to kind of get Saquon under control a little bit?
The big one early, that was hard because, we thought we had a good, defense played, but Joe and the guys all week had made a big impact, and I did too, to say in the second half he's been incredible. So almost 7 yards a carry for the season. Like, that is just unheard of. So maybe I made too big a deal about the second half. I missed it on the starting fast. A lot of respect for him, Dave, because of his ability, honestly, to run through and to break some tackles. This is a big offensive line, but I thought in the second half, defensively, the guys really buckled down. We knew both sides, third and fourth downs was going to be the name of this game. Both teams were good at fourth down. When we got stopped early on, it was like fill in the blank. But it wasn't going to back us off of taking shots and being aggressive. So it was a hard day, but I do love the way that the guys fought back.
Take 3 more.
After a while, he keeps doing this. You can't keep saying, wow, Jaden keeps doing this at the ends of games.
Yep.
What is his superpower in terms of remaining calm
Yes.
and executing in those moments?
I couldn't agree with you more. Honestly, all the way back to week 2 is when I first learned it. We were playing the Giants. We were behind going into a 2-minute. It was in that moment, got a cue, and it was the same one today. He had made a 4th and 11 scramble and got down to the field. I said, this is it. You stay in this moment. You stay where you're at. And he just stays consistently level in that. That's not something that he learned here with us, but his ability to, there's a lot of confidence in that too that goes with that. Much like for all the years you covered in basketball, who are you going to get the ball to at the end? To trust that person to make the shot. He would be that in basketball. He's at it for our team. We know that, he's willing to, whether it's using his legs or going, but it does elevate. You feel it. We all do. In these winning time moments that he is really capable in those spots. And we practice it a lot, but I'd love to say we practice a lot of shit a lot. So we practice a lot. But the part that I love, like we had a 2-minute the other day where we practiced being down 2 scores. And we had to score before 2-minute to get going. And if I could tell you, man, he ripped him. And the speed, the execution. So in these winning time moments, he's really, he likes being in that space.
2
It
more.
seemed like at halftime there were some pretty major adjustments made on both sides of the ball, defensively, crowd line of scrimmage, offensively, going more, spreading things out, going 4 wide. How pleased were you with, or did you expect that those changes were going to yield the differences you saw?
I thought, Joe did a good job on the defensive side. I don't know how many times we brought Frankie, but it was a lot, and Bobby, and I thought they were able to disrupt the drop-back game, and that's a big deal, to try to get people off rhythm. There were some big block-em-up shots. In other words, big groups, 2 or 3 tight ends to take shots down the field because you are concerned about the run game. So you want to play in some heavy looks, and what happens sometimes is, okay, I know what I have. I'm going to take my shot to AJ or Devontae, and that's part of what makes playing Philadelphia challenging is it's harder to disguise because of the ability to run it. Offensively, we didn't get the run game going like we thought we would, but I do love the fact that when you have to adjust, you do. And knowing, okay, if we have to open it up more to do that, that's what we're willing to do. We'd way prefer to have more balance. But whatever the game goes, being able to adjust, lots of sayings about it, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth or whatever it is. And so you do have to adjust when the game calls for it. And I appreciated that we were able to do that.
Got time for 1 more? You good?
Just from a practical standpoint.
I knew you would take that one. I saw that microphone and really grabbed that thing so quickly.
When they lose Jalen Hurts, obviously early in the game, obviously that's tough for them. But sometimes when the backup quarterback comes in, it can, you have a plan for one guy and another guy comes in. What changed for you guys once Jalen Hurts went?
I would say, he's really effective outside the pocket on some drop back passing, and so you saw that for us where one time we blitzed 6 guys and he still escaped to get out. So the other quarterback, in Pickett's, defense, he's also a mobile person. It would say there's things you can't count on about breaking tackles, like you have the play defended and you still don't get them down. Like those are hard ones to go, and it's an element that Hurts brings to their team where when you have it, somebody dead to rights and you don't, it's hard. And Jaden has that in a different way. But extending plays, a 4th and 11, a 3rd down and long scramble. Both of them can be effective. It's just done differently. All right.
All right.
See you guys tomorrow.